I welcome you back on this module. Now let's have a better understanding on Module A. First, let's start with a few datas of school complexes across India. In India, 28% of government primary schools and 14.8% of upper primary schools have less than 30 students. Schools from class 1 to 8 have an average of 14 students per class, while in many schools the average is just under 6. As per data in the year 2016 to 17, there were 108,017 single teacher schools, and most of these, approx 85,000 primary schools, were serving from class 1 to 5. And to resolve these challenges, our state and union territory governments have decided that they will be adopting a new process to form groups or cluster of schools by 2025. So why do we need grouping of schools? Let's have a look at the objectives of grouping of schools. Every school should have an adequate number of counselors and teachers to teach all subjects, including arts, music, science, sports, languages, vocational subjects, etc. Every school should have adequate resources such as library, science lab, computer lab, playground, sports equipment, etc. To bridge the gap between teachers, students, and schools, and to build an understanding with the community, the schools should be able to organize joint activities such as professional development programs, sharing of teaching learning materials, joint content creation, art and craft, exhibitions, sports activities, quizzes, debates, and fairs. There should be cooperation and support across the schools for education of children with disabilities. In order to improve the governance of the school system, the schools varying from foundational level and secondary level should be considered as an integrated semi-autonomous entity. Along with this, all final decisions should be assigned to the principal, teachers, and other stakeholders at the local level. Setup of aggregation structures. There is one possible mechanism for completing the process of grouping of schools, and that is establishment of an aggregation structure called school complexes or premises, which will have a secondary school together with all other schools offering lower grades in their neighborhood, including Anganwadis, within a radius of 5 to 10 kilometers. The benefits of building a school campus or cluster. There will be better support for disabled students. There will be more diverse theme based student clubs and academic, sports, arts, or craft programs in the school premises. There will also be greater inclusion of art, music, language, vocational subjects, physical education, and other subjects in the classroom by sharing the teachers in these subjects, including the use of ICT tools to conduct virtual classes. There will also be improvement in attendance along with other achievements. There will be better and stronger governance, oversight, monitoring innovations and initiatives taken by local stakeholders through school campus management committees. So, how are we going to implement this in our school complexes? Let's have a look at the implementation of school complexes or cluster system. First, the district superintendent of education, that is the DSE, will give authority to the school campus or cluster, which will function as a semi-autonomous unit. District education officer and block education officer will work with each school campus or cluster as a unit. The complexes will perform the responsibilities assigned by the DSE and coordinate with each of the schools under it. The school complexes or cluster will be given considerable autonomy by the DSE. So, what are the targets of these school complexes or cluster. The schools will be able to make their own plans, or we can say SDP, that is School Development Plan, with the help of school management committees. School complexes or cluster development plans will help in making plans for all other institutions attached to the campus, such as the Institute of Vocational Education. SDP and SCDP will be the medium through which DSC, including all stakeholders, will maintain mutual engagement. For the success of these plans, DSC will also provide resources in terms of financial, human, and physical for short term of 1 year and long term of 3 to 5 years. Talking about affiliation of schools. So, in order to promote mutual cooperation and improve the positive synergy between all the schools, including both private and public schools, one private and one public school will be interconnected across the country so that such paired schools may meet, interact, learn, and share resources with each other. It will also lead to good practices for both this type of schools, which can be documented and incorporated into established practices for public schools and vice versa. There will also be establishments of Bal Bhavans. Every state district will be encouraged to set up Bal Bhavans where the children of all ages can visit once or more than once a week and participate in arts, sports, and career related standard setting and accreditation for school education. First of all, let's have a look at the goals of school education regulatory system. There will be continuous improvement in the educational outcomes. The schools will not be limited with their innovations. The enthusiasm and courage of teachers, principals, and students should not be hindered, and schools and teachers will be encouraged with confidence. If we talk about the current schooling system and its outcomes, at present, all the main functions in the school education system related to the provision of public education and regulations, it's all controlled by a single body, that is, the Department of School Education. And this has led to conflicts of interest and excessive centralized concentration of powers, which has led to ineffective management of the school system. If we talk about the disparity between public and private schools, the current regulatory regime has not been able to control the constant commercialization of education in the name of private schools. It has also discouraged public spirited private philanthropic schools. And there has been far too much asymmetry between the regulatory approaches to public and private schools, even though the goal of both the schools are the same, that is, to provide quality education. Talking about the key principles and special recommendation of the school education system. The Department of School Education, which is the apex state level body in school education, will be responsible for overall monitoring and policy formulation for continuous improvement of the public education system. The responsibility of service provision and educational operations of the public school system will be under the Directorate of School Education, which will consist of the DEOs, BEOs, etc. An effective quality regulation or accreditation system will be established for all stages of education, which will include the preschools, private, public, and philanthropic schools, to ensure that all schools adhere to certain minimum professional and quality standards. State and union territories will set up an independent statewide body called the State School Standards Authority or SSSA. The State Schools Standards Authority will establish a minimum set of standards based on certain basic parameters such as safety, security, infrastructure, number of teachers based on classroom and subjects, which will be followed by all schools. There will be transparent public self disclosure of all the basic regulatory information as being laid down by SSA, and it will be extensible for public oversight and accountability. After all these changes, if we talk about the responsibilities, the responsibilities are as follows: empowering schools, institutions, teachers, authorities, communities, and other stakeholders. All the participants in the education system will be held accountable for playing their part with the highest level of integrity. The expectations from each role in the system will be clearly articulated, and the work of the stakeholders against these requirements will be deeply evaluated. All functionaries shall ensure that this development, performance, and accountability system continues to function properly within their control. Public and private schools will be accessed and certified on the basis of the common criteria, benchmark, and procedures, and there will be complete transparency of all the private and government schools. Private philanthropic efforts will be encouraged for quality education so that education is accessible to all. School website and state schools standards authority information on both public and private schools will be made public on the website. If we talk about a review of regulatory framework and facilitation system, there will be free and compulsory high quality and equitable schooling from early childhood care and education to higher secondary education to all students, especially those from disadvantaged sections. Transparent disclosure of academic results and all financial, academic, and operational matters will be given due importance and suitably incorporated in the evaluation of schools. This will further improve India's progress towards achieving sustainable development goal of ensuring free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education for all schools. The public schools education system will aim to provide the highest quality education so that it becomes the most attractive option for parents in all walks of life to educate their pupils. There will be certain assessment centers. A sample based national achievement survey of the learning levels of the students will be carried out by the proposed National Assessment Center for periodic checks of the overall system from time to time. It's also known as Parakh. Parakh, with suitable collaboration with other government bodies such as NCRT, will be assisting in analyzing all the tasks as well as assessment procedures. Students from government as well as private schools will be included in the evaluation. States will also be encouraged to conduct their own census based state assessment survey. And under NEP 2020, there will be importance will be given to both children and adolescents. Children and adolescents enrolled in schools should not be forgotten in the whole process. They will also be paying attention to their safety and rights, especially the various serious issues faced by girl, child, and adolescent, such as substance abuse and reporting of various forms of discrimination and harassment against any rights of protection of children and adolescents. The system, with a clear, safe, and efficient mechanism to respond to such violations, should be accorded the highest importance. That's all for Module 8. Thank you so much for being a part of it.